Yeah, and then so these are things that have been implemented so far. I'll be showing a couple of demos now. The many-to-one mapping framework through authentication, and Google Drive sharing framework, and porting of Weave code to JavaScript. And I have a couple of examples for you. And session dashboard is still not implemented yet, but I have a simple prototype for that too. Yeah, I'll be showing those demos now to you. So first, to make you understand what is session, I want to show the very simple example here. So this is a text box, and currently you type 0 in it. Instead, and now I go with 1, and then I type 2, and then I type 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the interactions you made on the screen, and this interaction has been recorded and saved in states. So you can go back to what you did on that time. So this is what sessioning. Sessioning means like you can go back and get back all the things what you did on the screen. It's not big enough. Is it visible to everyone?
Yeah.
So this is what sessioning. So I just prepare this to make you understand what is exactly sessioning does. So it's easy for me to explain in terms of visualization system next. So this is one D3 chart which I developed based on D3 libraries. So here it's this data is about cereal data, the morning breakfast cereals, and what is the protein information, the calories information, fat information, each of those cereals. So I have two charts here, and this chart has protein and the name of cereals, and fat ratio and name of cereals. And in this chart I enabled probing, and in this chart I enabled both probing and selection, and in this chart I give flexibility in changing the x-axis and y-axis. Even these things can also be developed under API in common platform. Reason is, if you look at every scatter plot, it has x column. You can change the x attribute, you can change the y attribute, you can change the color of it, you can change the size of it. So every tool is going to provide them as an API. I can provide a wrapper for that too, and those things can also be given flexibility. So that's why it's an example here. So right now if I do probing, you can see the session state is getting loaded. And if I do selection, this tool is not updated because I haven't enabled. But if I do selection here, I can see the respective data in protein. Now instead of protein, I want to switch back to sodium. You can get the sodium content information, sugars, potassium, and these are all recorded on the screen. You can go back to each state, what all you did now. And these states can be saved as a JSON file and can be stored in Google Drive. So that's the advantage of this sessioning. So this is not about the peer and hook concept, but this is about sessioning in visualization platform. And now I'm going to bring in a couple of demos about our lab product Weave and their interaction with D3, Tableau, and C3, which has been implemented with the peer and hook concept which I've been talking. So this is on the top, what you have is the same information, which is the same data source, which is about the cereal and the protein content in it. And the bottom one is our Weave platform. Here I'm going to load one scatter plot here. And the X column is going to be name again, and Y I'm keeping like calories count. Color is fine. So when I make interaction in D3 probing is by coloring. In Weave, probing is by highlighting the data by crowding of those data. So as I said, both do the same functionality, but the visual implementation is different. But because of the API wrapper, we can combine both. Similarly, when I make selection, again in D3 it's more of highlighting with colors. Here it's more of dimming the rest of the things and highlighting only the data selected. So both does the same work, but implementation is different. But because of wrapper, it's become easy here. And these are all sessioned. You can go back to each and every state here to identify what it does. And the second tableau is Tableau. So again, I'm bringing a tool here. Yeah, so when I make those selections in Weave, in Tableau it highlights the same way how in Weave it does. And Tableau doesn't provide API for probing, so I couldn't link probing through the API. I just linked through the selection concept here. And the other one is C3, which is the upcoming framework. And C3 doesn't provide API for selection, so I just use the probing here. Oh, yeah. So indeed, the thing is in C3, they don't provide interaction on the screen to make selection, but they provide API to call it from outside. So when I make selection in Weave, I can see that in C3, but it's not the other way around. So that's why with the help of API, whatever the functionality each platform they provide, you can either have one-way linking or two-way linking, and they're all sessioned here. So C3 is an example of one-way linking rather than two-way linking because of the lack of functionality in C3, but the API made a couple of things easy to access. That's what is an example. And the last example is about the Google Drive. So here we have a Google Drive with a lot of doc files and PDF files. Similarly, I have a Weave file. So they give us state information here, and with the help of the state information, we load into a system. And this dashboard is now shared between myself and between our chief architect, Andy. And this visualization is about our status reports for the month, for the week. It's a pretty old one. Month of September last year. And so this system, what I want to tell about here is, I make a couple of changes in this system, and those are all get sessioned here. And the person who I shared with here is Andy. And if he wants to know what I did, he can just go into his account, and he can open it, and he can check back what all I did. So that's the advantage of sharing and monitoring what the other person did.
Quick question here. If you share this with Andy, how does he get this interaction alive? He has to double click on it and then it loads Weave?
No, he can't see my live actions, but like that functionality is not have been designed yet, but that can also be designed. Like in Google Drive, and one person can work on, like it gives an indicator saying that this person is Sanjay and this person is Professor George. They can see a live collaboration, but that is not implemented in this yet though. But this has the functionality of like just you share, you edit, it maintains a revision history. So you can, if Professor loads this data, he can go to the revision history of his, and within the revision history, he can identify what are the interactions Sanjay did and what are the interactions he did. Those things can be seen. It's not a live collaboration, it's just a collaboration here. And tomorrow, like someone wants to create a new visualization or a new dashboard system, so they can just say new with Google Drive here, and you can load your own CSV file, and you can prepare your own, like I can go here and say I want to load my data. I can add. Do you want me to show that, Professor? I don't think I have CSV file. So now I have this data source here, and I can create, say, bar chart. And then I save the system. Yeah, it's here. So you can see the screenshot of what is there in the system. So like that, you can share it, and then I can click here and say share, and I can write Gmail with the Professor Greenstein, and I can send to him. So I gave him a permission to edit and view. So when he opens his Gmail or Google Drive, and if he has Google Drive enabled in his account, if he, sorry, not Google Drive, Weave enabled in Google Drive, if he clicks it, it automatically opens in the system. That's how the sharing works here. And I couldn't bring in the what I did with authentication tool. What I did is to make a demo yesterday, I uploaded my system into the server, but I forgot to change the local host to my labs.asanjay.com. So the authentication code which is giving error for me, otherwise I could have shown that demo too. It's about bringing how the authorized data source into Weave platform. I'm sorry for that. I couldn't. Otherwise, I could have shown that demo too today. It's I can just show an interface how it looks for a developer, not for the end user. So when I click the authorized data source, the first thing is we have to go and register our application, that is Weave or Weave JavaScript or the parent hook concept dashboard system, into either Runkeeper or Facebook, and get an client ID and client secret code. And that means this application can access the data on behalf of the user. That's what this client ID and client secret will help you, will identify the application. And then you give what is the authorization. And then here you will give what they pretty much usually send a JSON data with an array and a couple of other parameters. So you identify what are the metadata for your table and what is the main table, and then you give here, like in my case here it's items, and the key column name here is like when I click here get token, it breaks for me because of this local host issue.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I bring in the like how I brought a CSV data source into the system. This is how I bring the authorized data source into the system. That pretty much all.